You hear it before you see it. The wet crack of something breaking that shouldn't break. The sound of wood splintering, except it's not wood. You're standing in a throne room that smells of incense and blood, gold coins scattered across marble floors catching firelight. The metallic taste of fear fills your mouth. The man kneeling before you was untouchable yesterday. Today, his jaw hangs broken, gold pouring from his lips like a nightmare fountain. His sons are in the next room. You can hear the horses, then screaming, then nothing. 7 days ago, this was the richest city on earth. Now you're watching 800 years of dynasty end in ways history tried to forget. And what they did to this family's daughters was something else entirely. February 1258. A city of 1 million people, libraries holding texts that would take 3 lifetimes to read. Baghdad wasn't just wealthy, it was the center of human knowledge itself. Scholars traveled from Spain to Samarkand just to study here. The House of Wisdom contained more books than most kingdoms had citizens. This was the jewel of the Islamic world. The man choking on his own treasury right now ruled over all of it. The Caliph, not just a king, the spiritual successor to Muhammad himself. 37 generations of authority, a bloodline that stretched back 800 years. He believed God made him untouchable. 5 months ago, he received a letter. He read it in front of his advisors and laughed. That laugh cost him everything. But before dawn, someone would make a choice that doomed thousands. A letter written in blood would surface 200 years later. And the last person standing would be the one nobody expected. 3 daughters, 3 different fates. One of them would live to be 80, carrying a memory that would shatter your heart. September 1257. The letter arrives at the Caliph's court. Al-Musta holds the parchment like it's contaminated. His vizier watches his face carefully. The room falls silent. Then the Caliph throws his head back and laughs. These barbarians don't know who they're speaking to. The letter was simple, direct, almost polite. You have heard what befell the cities of Persia. Submit or learn what the others learned. The vizier's hands tremble as he takes the letter back. My lord, these are not raiders. This is a machine. The Caliph waves his hand like he's swatting a fly. We are the Caliphate. We do not submit to horsemen. The vizier tries again. His voice drops to a whisper. The Khwarezmian Empire had 400,000 soldiers, all gone. Nishapur had walls 30 feet thick, erased. We cannot fight them. We can only survive them. Al-Musta turns away. We have God's protection. We have 800 years of authority. We have nothing to fear. And then he does nothing. He doesn't prepare defenses. He doesn't pay for troops. He doesn't open his treasury to buy the largest army in the world. That treasury, rooms filled with gold, silver, jewels, wealth beyond imagination. It sits in the dark, untouched, while the storm gathers, while 150,000 Mongols march toward Baghdad. While his people pray, the Caliph has a wife, 3 sons, 3 daughters. A dynasty that believes in its own immortality. In 5 months, most of them will be dead. The ones who survive will wish they weren't. But right now, in this moment, he's still laughing, still certain, still blind. February 10th, 1258. The walls of Baghdad crack like eggshells. Mongol siege engines have been pounding for 3 days straight. The sound is constant, stone breaking, people screaming. The smell of burning fills every street. Al-Musta finally understands, but understanding comes too late. He sends a message to Hulagu Khan. I will surrender. Spare the city. Spare my people. The response arrives within hours. Present yourself at my camp. Bring your family. The vizier reads it aloud. His voice breaks on the word family. What would you do? You're on a throne. You've been told since birth that you're chosen by God. Now a warlord demands you walk into his camp with your children. Do you trust his mercy? Do you run? Do you fight? Tell me in the comments what you would have chosen. February 13th, Al-Musta walks out of Baghdad. He brings his 3 sons, Mubarak, Ahmed, and Ali. His 3 daughters, Zainab Khadija and Aisha. 3,000 members of his court trail behind them, all unarmed, all walking toward 150,000 Mongol soldiers. All believing surrender means survival. The procession moves through the camp. Thousands of soldiers watch in silence. No insults, no violence yet, just eyes, everywhere. The Caliph's youngest daughter, Aisha, is 12 years old. She holds her father's hand. She doesn't understand why everyone is so quiet. She doesn't know what silence means. Hulagu receives them in his command tent. The Caliph enters, tries to bow with dignity. Hulagu doesn't rise, doesn't acknowledge the greeting. His first question cuts through the formality. "Where is your treasury?" The Caliph hesitates. "We are prepared to offer tribute." "Where is it?" Soldiers are sent. They return hours later with faces that say everything. The treasury doors stand open. Hulagu walks the Caliph through room after room, vault after vault. Gold ingots stacked to the ceiling, silver coins in chests too heavy to lift. Jewels accumulated over 800 years, silk enough to clothe an army. All of it sitting here unused, untouched, while the walls crumbled. No one speaks, but the question fills every corner of that vault. Why was this locked away while your soldiers starved? Why was this protected while your people burned? Why did you love this more than your empire? The Caliph has no answer. His mouth opens, closes, opens again, nothing comes out. Hulagu nods slowly, like a teacher who's proven a point. You loved this more than your army, more than your people. He pauses, lets the words settle, more than your family. Now you will taste it. What happens next was recorded by the Persian historian Rashid al-Din. His account is specific, detailed, nauseating. The Caliph is forced to his knees, right there in his own treasury. Surrounded by the gold he hoarded, Mongol soldiers grab his jaw, force it open, begin shoving coins into his mouth. One by one, the Caliph tries to spit them out. They hold his mouth shut, push more in. His teeth crack against the metal. The sound echoes off the vault walls. His gums split. Blood mixes with gold. They keep going, more coins, then more, forcing them past his throat, into his stomach. Hulagu watches with no expression. You starved your army to fill these vaults. You let your walls crumble for this gold. Now let it fill you. Let it be the last thing you taste. The Caliph convulses. His body rejects what's being forced inside. His stomach tears from within. He collapses on the floor. Blood and gold pour from his mouth. He's still alive, still conscious, still watching as they drag his sons into the room. 3 boys, ages 23, 21, and 14. This is where mercy ends. Prince Mubarak is 23, the eldest son and the designated heir. From the moment he could speak, he was taught that the world would one day bend to him. His father's empire, scholars assured him, was not merely a kingdom, but the beating heart of the Islamic world, and he was the pulse that would one day command it. His education was exhaustive: theology, law, diplomacy, warfare, languages, governance. He memorized treaties before poetry, statecraft before childhood games. He was told greatness was not a possibility, but an inevitability. Entire populations, he believed, would one day utter his name in reverence. Yet destiny is a fragile construct when built by prideful men, and thrones forged in certainty often collapse the quietest. Prince Ahmed is 21, soft-spoken and contemplative. He was not shaped by ambition, but curiosity. While Mubarak trained to rule people, Ahmed trained to understand the universe. He studied in the House of Wisdom, not the war rooms. Astronomy, mathematics, cosmology, optics. He consumed knowledge like oxygen. He charted stars more often than family trees, unaware that his own lineage was nearing extinction. Politics bored him. Science enthralled him. He imagined a life where the sky was his legacy. He never sought a throne. He sought answers. The harshest conflict he had known was intellectual. Heated debates between philosophers where tempers flared but blood never spilled. In Baghdad, words were weapons of ego, not instruments of death. He could not fathom a world where questions were answered with slaughter. Prince Ali is 14. Childhood still clung to him like dust on silk. He believed in resolution, not ruin. His father, he assumed, was immovable an axis around which reality itself spun. If something broke, his father repaired it. If fear came, his father banished it. Tutors and lessons felt like the boundaries of suffering. He had never seen death except in ink on parchment, never imagined it could roar, crush, or leave stains. Innocence is not the absence of fear, but the inability to conceive true terror. Ali had lived his life convinced that nightmares dissolved at dawn. The princes are dragged into the caliph's treasury in chains, iron-biting skin that once wore gold. The treasury was a cathedral of wealth, its walls lined with chests of coin, its air thick with metallic promise. It was a room that once symbolized invulnerability. Now it symbolizes annihilation. When they see their father collapsed on the marble floor, lips crusted with blood and gold, The illusion shatters instantly. The Caliph, once larger than legend, is now smaller than mortality. Mubarak lunges toward him, screaming, "Father!" Guards crash into him, throwing him backward. The Caliph does not blink. His eyes remain open but hollow, consciousness already departed like a soul, refusing to witness more devastation. His body is present, but the man is gone. Hope evacuates a person long before breath does. Hulagu steps toward the boys, examining them not as royalty, but commodities. His question lands like a verdict. "Where is your God now?" The room answers with nothingness. Not silence as a sound, but silence as a corpse of expectation. Mubarak, trembling but defiant, speaks anyway. "Allah will punish you for this." Hulagu does not sneer. He simply nods, a gesture colder than mockery, warmer than respect, just acknowledgement. Then he issues a command in Mongolian. The guards respond instantly. Their obedience is mechanical, their task ancient. Mongol cosmology dictated that royal blood must never kiss earth. To spill it openly was to wound the universe itself, an act capable of unbalancing heaven. Their reverence for cosmic equilibrium did not prevent murder, it merely choreographed it. Nobility was not spared death, but denied spectacle. The method was ritual, deliberate, impersonal, horrifyingly efficient. Prince Mubarak is taken first. He fights with every instinct 23 years of expectation have bred in him. But history is not rewritten by fists against empires. Guards slam him down, unrolling a thick Persian rug heavier than a burial shroud. They wrap him inside, constricting him layer by layer until movement becomes a memory. His voice pushes through fibers, first commanding, then begging, then dissolving into incoherent desperation. "Father, help me." The Caliph does not twitch. The carpet lies flat on marble, a coffin without carpentry. War horses step forward, enormous beasts trained to kill men in battle, without remorse. They are guided into position, ceremonial and calculated. Then the riders advance. The sound is catastrophic. Rashid al-Din likened it to timber snapping, but wood is too clean a metaphor. This sound is organic, deep, wet, an architecture of life collapsing inward. Mubarak's cries mutate under pressure, morphing from language into primal anguish. The other princes retch. The horses pass again and again and again, until the rug holds only a silence dense enough to choke prayers mid-birth. The Caliph watches without reaction. Reaction requires presence, and presence had already abandoned him. Prince Ahmed follows. He does not resist. Knowledge gives a person awareness, but not armor. He had just seen his brother die. Futility is a quieter cage than iron. He screams his father's name like a mantra, a final experiment to test whether love could break fate. It fails. The horses do not hesitate. Within minutes, a scholar becomes a silence. The cosmos remains balanced. The bloodline does not. Prince Ali is last. Bravery does not reach 14. He weeps uncontrollably, the sound of a dynasty recognizing its own obituary. "I don't want to die. Please, please, please" are powerless currencies in conquest. His small body is swallowed by wool. The horses ride. The sound is smaller, shorter, softer, more tragic, for its lack of grandeur. Some deaths roar, so history remembers them. Some deaths whisper, so conscience does. 3 carpets are rolled aside. 3 stains bloom outward on marble. Blood forbidden from touching earth has now marked stone anyway. The daughters heard everything from the adjacent chamber, the screams, the horses, the punctuated void that followed each life's termination. Sound travels farther than salvation ever does. Princess Zainab is 25, brilliant and poised for influence beyond lineage. She was multilingual, philosophical, politically astute, poetically revered. She was not merely a princess, but a mind that courts sought to borrow. She wrote poems that reshaped how rulers perceived empire and faith. She was expected to alter the future through intellect, diplomacy, reform. Instead, the future alters her through possession. Princess Kadeya is 20, gentle-hearted and quietly revolutionary. She believed in peace through cultivation, not decree. Her world was flowers, irrigation, taxonomy, and botanical documentation. She imagined encyclopedias of life, not inventories of death. Beauty, she assumed, was a stabilizing force. She had not learned that beauty becomes currency when civilization falls. Princess Aisha is 12. Childhood still decorates her wrists with slipping bracelets. She carries stones she collected by the riverbank, each labeled with a story, each an artifact of imagined exploration. She planned to name mountains. Instead, she becomes one. When the guard sees Zinab and Khadija, Zinab's face empties like a page wiped of ink. Her sisters collapse into grief or cling to their father, but Zinab turns blank, shock not expressed but fossilized. Khadija crumples, rocking, keening, uttering sounds that are grief but not language. Aisha throws herself onto her father's chest, begging him to return. He cannot. Minds break more quietly than bodies do, but their absence is louder. Hulagu speaks then, voice controlled, calm, terrifying for its restraint. The boys had to die. They were heirs. But you understand, you three have value. Value is a chilling concept when spoken by conquerors. For daughters of nobility, death would have been a closure. Instead, they are given continuity through erasure of identity. Mongol policy spared women of high birth from execution, not for mercy but utility. They became possessions, political trophies, rewards for loyalty, symbols of dominion. Land, libraries, cities, and bloodlines were seized or razed. Women were catalogued and distributed like proof of victory. A document later found in Mongol archives records 2 unnamed Arab women of noble origin gifted to General Kitbuka. No lieges, no lineage, no description, just given. They vanish from history without death because erasure is quieter than killing but lasts longer. They leave no graves, no recorded children, no known legacy. Their existence becomes a footnote without punctuation. Zinab and Khadija are separated instantly, handed to commanders whose names would live in chronicles while theirs evaporated from them. The sisters never meet again. Empires fall through fire. Families fall through distribution. Aisha is not gifted. She is kept. Hulagu pulls her from her father, declaring through action that a dynasty's blood could be reshaped through ownership. Over months, he rewrites her identity by force of environment, clothing, language, prayer, routine, culture. She is submerged in Mongol life until Baghdad becomes myth to her tongue, gardens become blur to her mind, sisterhood becomes echo without origin. He turns her into a symbol, a living artifact of domination, proof that even the highest lineage could be bent into foreign shape. The Mongols destroyed Baghdad not to silence it, but to weaponize memory. A warning must outlive the messenger. Years later, historian Malik Juveni interviewed an elderly woman in Tabriz who claimed to be Princess Aisha. She spoke Arabic, broken by Mongol phonetics. Memory of origin fractured but not gone. She recalled not her palace but the moment it ended. Trauma, unlike architecture, is indestructible. She recounted the horses, the carpets, the severing of lineage, the failure of response from her father's open but vacant eyes. Then she recalled Hulag's whispered prophecy. You are the last. Your line ends with you. After 70 years of exile, she uttered her conclusion with devastating clarity. He was right. History proved her correct. Within months, cities surrendered without combat. Tributes sent before hoofbeats arrived. Resistance meant annihilation. Submission meant survival. Baghdad was not conquest. Baghdad was messaging. Ink once symbolized enlightenment. In the Tigris, it symbolized mourning. Books were hurled into the river until the water ran black for half a year. Knowledge, once hoarded by scholars, now drowned by conquerors, dissolved into currents, carrying centuries of thought into silence. The house of wisdom burned because ideas are threats when empires are built on fear, not philosophy. Ibn al-Fawati survived by hiding in a well for days. When he emerged, the city had the silence of a world that had watched itself die. 1 million people were not executed for secrecy. They were executed for echo. Archaeologists later uncovered the treasury. The marble still carried stains, 3 concentrated blooms marking the suns, like a map of interrupted futures. No plaque commemorates the tragedy. The silence serves as memorial because some lessons need no inscription. If you listen to the wind through the ruins, locals claim you can still hear echoes, not words, but transformation. Horses, screams, then silence. Silence that outlives empire. Silence that communicates when words cannot.